Okay, is everyone back? Feel free to message. You're back, just so I know I'm not talking to myself. Makes me feel a lot better as a teacher when you know you're not talking to yourself. Everyone else? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. 9 of you guys are back. No one else? Got a long list of students. Okay, so good. So looks like most of you guys are back. Okay, let's begin. So the most important thing about every lesson are the concepts. So although you guys need to and must be memorizing vocabulary as you're going along, and try your hardest to memorize vocab, it does get easier over time. I remember when I first started studying in madrasa, memorizing vocabulary was the most difficult thing for me. I remember our teachers used to give us 5 words to learn for the next day. And I used to spend so much time. So I wasn't a lazy student. I used to try very hard. I spent so much time learning those words. I used to learn it at night time, throughout the day. I used to wake up early, very early before Fajr, so I can memorize those few words which I had for the next day. And on top of that, I used to memorize it again before class. And as soon as I used to get to class and the teacher would ask me what these words were, I would have no idea. I would have forgotten at least half of them. So my memory for learning vocab was so bad. It was like, what, can I even do this? Language isn't for me. I'm good at other things, but I'm not good at languages. But what happened was I stuck to it because my teachers were very strict. Really, not because I was so next level, just because my teachers were very strict. So I had no choice. So I stuck to it. So then, over time, it gets easier and easier and easier until it got to such a point where I could just sit down for half an hour and memorize 80 words, and I would not forget these words. So the vocab does get easier. So the more you memorize things, the easier it gets. Your brain is a muscle, basically. It's like if you go to a gym and you're the first, you're a skinny guy, and this is the first time you've gone to a gym, and you see all these guys, bicep curling like 30 kg or 40 kg, or doing bench press. So you're going to look at them and think, that's impossible. But it's actually not impossible. For that person to get to that stage, they had to work to getting that stage, and then you practice and practice and train and train and train, and later they got to a stage where they can bench press this many kg. You don't just wake up one day and you're a skinny guy and you can bench press all this stuff. No. Same with memorizing vocab. It's not gonna be easy for you from day one, unless obviously you have a supercomputer as a brain. Then it will be easy for you for day one. But most people, it's not easy for them from day one. So just like a person needs to go to a gym and train very hard every day, likewise you need to go to your brain gym and memorize vocab every day. And what happens as soon as you start skipping days in the gym, you'll realize that you're not going to make much progress. Likewise, when you start skipping days on vocab, you're not going to make much progress. So it's a constant effort that you need to do all the time, inshallah. Okay, so let's begin. That's enough talk. So this lesson is very, very easy and it's very, very quick. And we're only learning one concept here. So ad-darsu thani, lesson 2. And the only key concept is that. So in the last lesson, we learned this, which is hada. So hada was for those things which are close to you. Now we're going to learn what if you're pointing to those things which are far away from you. So you want to say, what is that? Or is that a? Or that is a. Yeah. So we're going to learn how to say that basically and point to things and refer to things which are further away. Okay. So we're going to learn what is that. So it's the same sentence structure. We're going to replace hada with that. And we're going to replace hada masjidun. We're going to replace the hada with that. And who is that is exactly the same. We're going to replace that with who is this. We're going to replace it with who is that. So very easy. So you're basically learning one more word here. Okay. So the way you say that in Arabic is dhalika. So what is that? Ma dhalika. That is a dhalika. So you start with dhalika and you say the object or the person. And if you want to say who is this, you'll say man dhalika. So very easy, very simple. There's really nothing to it, is there? Okay, so the next slide. So the ma is the same. and dhalika is the only thing that's different. So before it was ma hada, what is this? This time it's ma dhalika. And so the, by the way, is stretched. Dhalika. Dhalika. I should have put the harakat in. Maybe next time I'll do it, inshallah. Ma dhalika, what is that? Very simple. Okay, so let's do this together, yeah? So the bigger picture is meaning it's closer to us, so we're going to use hada for this, yeah? So the big picture is close to us, so we're going to use hada to describe it. And the smaller picture, which is the house, that's further away. So we're going to use dhalika to describe. Who can ask this question for me? And by the way, and in Arabic, like you guys said before, is the letter waw. So you'll say, what is this? Wa, what is that? So and in Arabic is wa. Can I have a volunteer to say this sentence for me?
I'm ready to go.
Okay, go on. Let's take a Burhan then. Go on.
Ma dhalika.
What you're saying this? How do I say what is this?
Dhalika.
Remember this? What did we learn last lesson? What is this?
Ma hada.
Yeah. So what is this? This is normal. This is what we learned before. So ma hada. How do I say and?
Wa.
Wa.
Wa. And then now what is that?
Ma dhalika.
Good. So I'm going to ask you one more time. So I want you to try and make it a bit more fluent. So ma hada wa ma dhalika. Can you say that?
Ma hada wa ma dhalika.
Good. So you have to pretend you're an Arab when you're doing this. Okay. And a second volunteer. Who can answer this? Muhammad Rafiq, do you think you can answer this?
Yep. Haza masjidun wa zalika baytun.
Good. هذا مسجد وذلك بيت. Okay, so good, mashallah. Jazakallah khairan. And another volunteer?
Can I try?
Okay, go on, Sheikh Thanos. There's no Arabic words here though.
Okay. هذا قط وذلك حصان.
Okay,
Is that a horse or donkey?
That's a horse.
Okay.
Funny looking horse, isn't it? Okay, so good. So when you're referring to something close, that's why the picture's big. هذا قط وذلك. So and that is وذلك حصان. وذلك حصان. Okay, another volunteer. So this is a teacher and an imam. Any volunteers that hasn't?
I'll do it. هذا مدرس وذلك إمام.
Okay, good. Okay, good, mashallah. Second volunteer. Next volunteer, sorry. Any other brave people?
I can go. Which one?
Okay, good. Okay, so first I want you, the first object you'll describe with hada, and the second object you'll describe with dhalika. So I'm pointing to the house and the desk.
Okay. Hada baytun wa dhalika maktabun.
Good. Okay, and one more. These two objects.
Hada kitabun wa dhalika kursiyun.
Good. And how would you ask me, what is that?
Ma hada.
What is that? That.
Ma dhalika. Sorry.
Good. And I would answer dhalika baytun. Okay, jazakallah khairan. Okay, I want 2 new volunteers.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Okay, so Sarah and Russell, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so Russell, what you're going to do is you're going to be asking the questions. I want you to ask about two objects, one using hada and the second object using dhalika. Do you understand what you have to do?
Okay.
Okay, so for example, you say, ma hada wa ma dhalika. Yeah, that's how you'll say the phrase. Okay, so go on, Russell. So I'm pointing to these two.
ما هذا وذلك
Wa ma dhalika.
وما ذلك.
هذا سرير وذلك مكتب.
Good. Let's try it again.
ما هذا وما ذلك.
هذا باب وذلك بيت.
Good. Now let's switch it around. Sorry, do the asking.
Okay. ما هذا وما ذلك.
So which one is this one is first? Okay. هذا كلام وذلك مكتب.
Good. Let's just do one more.
ما هذا وما ذلك.
Good.
هذا مفتاح وذلك باب.
Good. Just one pointer. Miftahun, the me. Me.
Okay, مفتاح.
Okay, jazakumullah khairan. Okay, two more volunteers.
Yes, please.
Okay, so we have Muhammad Shahadat Hussein and second person.
Me, I guess.
Okay, and Sheikh Thanos. Okay, so go on, Sheikh Thanos, you can ask first.
ما هذا وما ذلك.
ما هذا نجم وذلك. I don't know what is that in.
Okay. Anyone know what this is called in Arabic?
Is it sukkarun?
Okay, good. Yeah, sukkarun, which is sugar. Sukkarun.
Sukkar.
Yeah, just in your first one, you added a ma in there in your response. So don't add the ma because you're going to make it into a question. So you just say hada najmun.
هذا نجم.
Okay, go on. Sheikh Thanos, ask away.
من هذا ومن ذلك.
هذا رجل وذلك طالب.
Okay, good. Yeah, so well done for remembering the man. So man hada wa man dhalika.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So let's switch it around. So Muhammad Shahadi, you can ask the question. Okay, I want you to ask you regarding this, the star, and the man.
Okay. ما هذا ومن ذلك.
Good.
هذا نجم وذلك رجل.
Okay, good. MashaAllah, perfect. And the last volunteer. Two new volunteers, sorry. Last volunteers.
I need help for the name.
Okay, unfortunately, there isn't any names in this slide. Unfortunately, because these are the same vocabs as lesson 1. So in lesson 2, those words won't be repeated with Arabic.
Ah, okay. But can I ask the question or what?
Yeah, you can do.
Okay.
Is there another person? Another new volunteer?
I'll go, Sheikh.
Okay, good. So we've got Sister Nima and Saad. So go on, Sister Nima, you can ask the question. Say about these two.
ما هذا وما ذلك.
هذا حسان وذلك ديك.
Good. Okay, now Sister Nima, when you ask the question, I want you to use in your question. Do you know how to do that?
Me.
Yeah. So when you ask, I want you to use the particle to say is.
Okay.
Okay. So how do I say is that a dog? So dog
Okay.
is kalbun.
Kalbun.
Yeah. So how do I say is that a dog?
Haza kalbun.
That means this is a dog. How do I ask the question? Is that a dog? Do you know?
That.
If you're not sure, that's fine. I can pass it on to someone else.
I'm not sure.
Okay, that's fine. Because you missed lesson 1, isn't it? So you'll find these.
Yeah.
So that's fine. So you'll find these a bit tricky, but we've got lesson 1 recorded. You can catch up with the recording, inshallah.
Okay. Inshallah.
Is another person wants to volunteer?
Yes, please.
Okay, so we've got Muhammad Shahadat Hussein, and the second person was, sorry? Saad. Yeah?
Yes, it was me.
Okay, so, let's Saad. Can you ask, is that a dog?
هذا كلب.
وذلك كلب.
So just asking Saad, sorry, Saad.
Okay, sorry.
هذا كلب.
You're using hada, which means is this. I want you to say is that.
أذلك كلب.
Kalbun.
كلب.
Good. And Muhammad Shahadat Hussein, you can answer.
نعم ذلك كلب.
Good. Saad, ask again. Same style of question.
هذا حمار.
You're using hada again. I want you to use dhalika. Is that?
أستاذ. أذلك حمار.
نعم ذلك حمار.
Okay, that's good. Let's switch it around. So Muhammad Shahadat, you can ask. So I want you to use again in your questions.
أذلك سكر.
هذا سكر.
You'll say
نعم
yes.
هذا سكر.
Remember, we're not using hada anymore. We're always using that.
ذلك سكر.
Okay.
نعم.
Yeah, good. And Muhammad Shahadat, ask again.
No, sorry. أذلك حمار.
لا ذلك نجم.
Okay, good, mashallah. Okay, so has everyone understood the concept of this?
Yes.
Concept very easy. So all we're doing is replacing hada with dhalika and everything else is the same. It's very easy to understand, but sometimes we can get muddled up if we haven't practiced it much. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to break you guys up into breakout rooms, and I want you to practice these phrases. So using the slide 2, and when you use, just mute yourselves. Yeah. So when you ask each other, mix and match the style of questions. So sometimes use ma hada wa ma dhalika. So that's one question you can ask. Ma hada wa ma dhalika. You can use adhalika. So use these two types of questions to mix and match. Or man hada wa ma dhalika. And see if you're able to speak and if you're able to respond, inshallah. So I'm just going to give you guys a couple of minutes in the breakout room just to get ready, just to internalize this concept. And then we'll introduce lesson 3 and then we'll call it a day.
Sorry to interrupt, Sheikh, just before you do that. You know the 2 extra words, can you just clarify how to say them? The milk and sugar.
Okay, good. Sorry, I was supposed to do that. Any new words, what my plan is to actually write the Arabic down, but I this slipped my mind. Okay, so this is sukkarun. So with a shadda on the kaf. Sukkarun. And the milk is labanun. Labanun. So sukkarun and labanun. Okay, anything else I need to cover?
And one more thing, can I ask one thing?
Yeah.
In page 19, the same thing as page 14, and they say, I can't read it, it's indicating noun.
Okay. Okay, so, oh yes, so I was supposed to respond to another person ask. So regarding pages 14 and pages 19.
We did have the same thing, page 14 and page 19, that's...
Yeah, so it goes into just technical jargon of grammar. which at this stage you don't really need to know the technicalities behind it. So that's why I haven't explained it. But once we come to February, I will be explaining these as we're going along. Just for the time being, I'm just trying to keep everyone happy. So those of you guys want to, you know, I don't want to make things too more complicated than it is, basically.
Okay.
So when I start explaining all these technical grammar jargon and what words they use, the simple stuff starts to become very difficult. So for the time being, I'm not going to be explaining these. But once we come to February, because you know we'll have everyone I know will be dedicated, so I will be explaining these grammar terms as we're going along as well, inshallah. Okay. Okay. Any other questions before we move on?
No, thank you.
Okay. The other word I missed out on page 17 in the slides is the word hajarun. So hajarun just means stone. Hajarun, stone, with a ha. And imamun is obviously imam. And mudarrisun, we've done that before, is a teacher. Yeah, so all the other words are found in the slides, except for these hajarun I missed out, unfortunately. My mistake. Okay, so lesson 6, pages 16 and page 17 in the orange book, or lesson 2 basically. It's a very easy read. So if you've understood the concept, you should be able to go back to the book and be able to translate the book yourself. So I'm going to put you guys into breakout rooms so you guys can practice this concept a bit. Those of you guys that are a lot more confident, feel free to lead the session and help those that are slightly weaker or slightly might be struggling. So I'm just going to put you guys into breakout rooms and then you guys can practice.